It's been about 10 years since I graduated college, and since then I've changed jobs about 7 times, got a graduate degree, and now I'm unemployed by choice. And so naturally, I have been thinking long and hard about what I would have done back in 2009 as an 18-year-old if I had known these 5 things before I started college. Now, I know that it's been almost a decade since I've been in college, but if you want some sage advice from a 30-year-old South Asian millennial woman, then keep watching. Number 1 is that I wish I knew that not all people who take gap years are all lazy or unmotivated. Before starting grad school, I was very strongly nudged by my advisor to go take a trip. I wanted to seem like a really ambitious student, so I had asked her if I could start working in the research lab even before school started. And she looked at me like I was crazy, like I had 3 heads, and was like, "Why would you want to do that? Go take a trip. Go have fun. Do something different. Go take advantage of the time that you have now." And so I took her advice and took my first ever backpacking trip to Europe. I went through Germany, Belgium, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. It was so cool. And on this trip, I met some incredible young people from New Zealand, Australia, and some other countries who were taking gap years between their high school and college years. And I thought it was amazing. They honestly had no care in the world, and all that they were pursuing was passion and purpose and fun. I honestly think that in the US, we are so brainwashed to stay a cog in the wheel of society, and if you were to fall off, then heaven forbid you'd be left behind. This is so far from the truth. So if I were to go back, I would strongly consider taking a gap year to travel or even just explore what my options are. Because who the hell knows what we're supposed to be doing at 18? I don't think any of us really know what we're doing at that age. The second thing is that I wish I knew that going to community college doesn't mean that you're dumb or stupid. I honestly thought this. Looking back, I always had this preconceived notion that if I didn't go to a prestigious college or an expensive private school, then I wouldn't get a good job that paid a good salary in the end. Everything seemed to be about status. And when I reflect back, I can tell you that I chose engineering as a game time decision. I just never thought it through. I just thought engineering would lead me to medical school, and if medical school didn't happen, which it didn't, then I'd have a fallback career. A career that I never chose in the first place. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Engineering was hard, and I didn't have a passion for it. At that time, tennis and dance were my passions, but I certainly could not turn that into a career, right? Well, of course I told myself that. So I often wonder if I just took a couple years to go to community college and take whatever courses I was interested in, without having the pressure of paying loads and loads of money, what would I be doing today? And that rabbit hole is probably for another video. Number 3 is that I wish that doctor, lawyer, or engineer weren't the only career paths in life. It is such a stereotype to say that all Asian people are either doctors, lawyers, or engineers. But honestly, it seemed so real within my family. Almost all of my cousins were in some type of health profession, mainly doctors, so I never felt like I had a choice. I also felt as if any other profession would be looked down upon. So I don't think I ever allowed myself to other career possibilities. My focus was very narrow. And if I were to go back now, if I didn't feel like I had all of the pressure, whether it be through family or society or the pressure that I put on myself internally, I really would have taken more time to look into other professions. Number 4, and I think this is a big one, I wish I knew how to see myself as an individual and not a comparison to everyone else. Comparison was a big motivator, And also a big anxiety inducer for me growing up. I was always compared to my cousins or my family friends who were of the same age as me, and it always made me feel as if I was never enough. And so I started college as if it was a challenge. I wanted to prove that I could go through college, have fun, have the college experience, and also get straight A's, which I didn't. I barely made it through my first year with a 2.0 GPA. Not something I'm proud of. And oh, how I wish that I could be as smart as this person or that person and just cruise through college as if it was just no big deal. That was a lot of pressure that I put on myself. And this is especially hard when you feel as if everyone else around you are constantly succeeding. And of course, that's not always the case because we tend to put an Instagram filter on everything that we show to others. But if I were to go back, I would try my hardest to focus on myself and tune everyone else out. I'd ask myself what I need and set boundaries on what doesn't serve me. And here's the last one. I wish I knew that my mental health truly mattered. In the South Asian community, mental health has always been a taboo thing, at least in my experience. And I don't think we ever spoke about anxiety or depression within my family. And if I tried, therapy was never an option. I've always been told that therapy is the same thing as just talking it out with your best friend. And that therapists are just out for your money. But regardless, now that I know better, I recommend anyone and everyone to see a therapist because they honestly make your life a lot better. And so 10 years out of college, I have grown so much. I can't say that I regret anything, but if I did have the chance to redo my whole college experience, I'd probably do a few things differently. And most of those changes would most likely be around my mindset. Because I feel like at that age, as a young South Asian girl, many things that we do are out of ego and trying to look our best to the people around us, regardless of how we feel inside. And it took me a long time to come to terms with that, years in fact. So to sum up this video, my advice for anyone, especially if you're of Asian descent who will be starting college soon this fall, or next year, would come down to these 4 things. Number 1, focus on what excites you and what you love doing versus what you think you need to do. Because if you study what you think you need to study just because your parents told you to, or because you feel pressured by your family, you will most likely regret it in the end. Number 2 is travel and explore for as much and as long as you need to before you declare a major, or before you start college. If you need money, get a job at the mall, but don't feel like you have to jump into college right after high school. And if you absolutely feel like you need to go to college, go to community college. You'll save way more money and end up having so much more clarity with what you want to do. Number 3, get a therapist. Go to your school counselor. Just do it. It's worth it. Trust me. And number 4 is probably the most important. No one else's opinion matters more than your own. Not your parents, not the auntie next door. The only opinion that matters is the one that you have of yourself. And if you want that opinion to be positive 10, 20, 30 years down the line, you need to do what's best for you. Because you have to live with yourself for the rest of your life. I hope this video helped you and inspired you. I'm so cheering for you. I'm sending you all the love. See you in the next one.